Ain't no good time when it's a darker sin. You give me something that I can't give you here. Tell me what you're thinking, I need to know you're feeling. If you crush on me, you need to know my story. But don't get too close to me, cause I need my fantasy. You give me something that I can't give you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to crochet a bucket hat. So this one right here is basically my very first attempt creating a bucket hat. As you can see, this is how it looks like. And this one is also the matching bucket hat for the cardigan that I've created here on the channel. I'm going to be linking that in the description below for the Harry Styles cardigan, the very famous and trendy one. I've created that one, and I decided to use the same yarns because I have a lot left, so I decided to use the same yarns to create a bucket hat. But of course you guys can make it any color that you guys want. This one is a little bit different than the ones that you see out there. I haven't followed any patterns or anything like that, and you can see that it's more like closer to the face, is not kind of sticking out. I do like this kind of style, just a little bit curved here at the front, but you guys can just customize to however you guys like. You can do a little bit bigger as well here at the brim. But yeah, this is today's tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure to give a massive thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe here to the channel so you can see more videos like this one. So let's begin with the tutorial. So for today's video, I'm going to be using the same yarns that I've used for my Harry Styles cardigan. So we have right here the blue yarn, the green, the red, the yellow, the orange, and the black. And also I'm going to be using a 4mm hook, some pins, a tapestry needle, a small pair of scissors, a measuring tape, and some stitch markers. So the first thing that we are going to be doing will be the squares. So these are the two styles that I'm going to be doing for the bucket hat. So we have the ones with one color, they will all be exactly the same as this one. And then we have the black and red one. I know it's a little bit complicated, but this one, it's quite nice to have also in the bucket hat if you guys just want a little bit different, and also to be matching with the cardigan as well. So the first one that I'm going to be showing you guys will be the one color ones. And if you guys are wondering the sizing that I'm going to be doing for both of them will be the same size. So they are 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. And in inches, that's 2 inches by 2 inches. So you guys can go ahead and choose the color that you want to start with. I'm going to be showing you guys here in the video how to make in the color yellow. So we are going to be starting with a slip knot. And then I'm going to be chaining right here a chain of 8. And then I'm going to be creating half double crochets. You guys can create single crochets or double crochets if you guys prefer. I really like to work with half double crochets because it's still a little bit tighter, but at the same time it runs very quickly here the rows. So I'm going to be creating a half double crochet, so I'm going to be chaining an extra 2. And then on chain number 8 right here, I'm going to be creating my very first half double crochet. So how to make a half double crochet? You wrap the yarn around the hook, you go through the stitch, you grab the yarn again, keeping that on the hook, and then now you have 3 loops here on the hook. What you're going to be doing is just yarn over and pull through all those loops. So that's how you make a half double crochet. So now I'm going to be continuing right here with my half double crochets all the way down, and I'm going to be having right here 9 half double crochets, so 9 stitches. So to go into the next row, we are going to be chaining 2, turning project, and prepare for the half double crochet. Usually what I do, I skip this very first one and I go into the next one and start my half double crochets from here. But for this method, what I'm going to be doing is going into this very first stitch, the very first one here from the chain. So go through that stitch and create your very first half double crochet. And now we are going to be continuing with the half double crochets all the way down but this time we are not going to be getting the very last stitch. We are going to be basically stopping into the second to last stitch. And how you know when to stop? Basically, you're going to be counting here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 9 half double crochets right here, and we also need 9 into the next row. So we have counted right here 8, so we need one more. What we are going to be doing, just create into this stitch right here. You can see that there is a little stitch here. Into that one is going to be our last half double crochet. And then from here, you're just going to be repeating the same steps until we have 5 rows in total. So as you can see, I have completed here my 5 rows, and you can go ahead now and fasten off. So I chain 1, just tighten a little bit the yarn right here, and then I cut my yarn and I pull here with my hook to fasten off. So this is basically the one color squares that we are going to be doing. All of them will be exactly the same as this one. So now I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the black and red squares. I'm going to be using the color yellow and the red so you guys can see where the stitches are going, because with the black one I will not be able to show you guys here in the camera. So the first thing that you guys have to do to make your life a little bit easier when crocheting the black and red squares is to have one yarn in front of you, so right here. So this one, you know that is going to be coming from this way, and then the other one you want to have on your left side, kind of on the floor inside a little bowl. So I'm going to be starting first exactly how I've created the yellow ones right here, so with a slip knot, and I'm going to be chaining 8. And then we are going to be chaining 2, and then we are going to go into chain here number 8 and create our very first half double crochet. And then what we are going to be doing now is bringing the other color. You're going to grab a little bit, leaving a little bit here at the end, and then you're going to be inserting it right here into your work. And then you're going to be making here the yellow a little bit tighter. So you're going to be leaving this one at the back because we can weave in this one later. So we are not going to be using the end here of the yarn, just to be a little bit easier. We are going to be placing the yellow here with the work because we have to grab the yellow here with the stitches that we are going to be doing the half double crochet. So you're going to be putting the two together. You're going to be now creating 2 half double crochets with the red one. So the first one is going to be normal, like this, the half double crochet. And then for the second one, we are going to be creating the first part of the half double crochet, but you're going to be yarning over and you're going to be pulling through just the first 2 stitches. So now we are going to be changing here into the yellow one. So we are just going to be grabbing the yellow and we are going to be finishing here the stitch. As you can see, you're going to go through those 2 loops right here, and now we just have the yellow one right here at the top. You're going to be leaving the red one with your work. Just like this, you're going to be holding both of them together and you're going to be creating 2 half double crochets right here with the yellow one. And remember that the second one, you just do the first part and you just yarn over and pull through just the 2 loops right here, leaving the last 2 on the hook. So now for us to change into the red one, what you're gonna have to do is to grab the red one from the back of the project. It's kind of like twisting here the yarn, as you guys can see. So always the one that it's on the left side on the floor here on the bottom, it's going to be always on top, and the red one is always going to be the one at the bottom. If you grab the red one here from the front, what's gonna happen is going to twist the 2 yarns here, and it's going to be very hard to create this square. So you want to make sure that it's very nice and untwisted. So you want to grab it from the bottom, and then you're going to be changing here into the red one and create the 2 half double crochets. And the second one, just grabbing the 2 loops and keeping the last 2 here on the hook. So you want to change into the black or the yellow one now, and you're going to be creating the very last stitch right here. But when you create the very last stitch, you want to see which one comes next. On top of the yellow, we are going to be doing the red, and on top of the red, we are going to be doing yellow. So right here we have the yellow one right at the end, so we are going to be creating here the half double crochet and just leaving the last 2 stitches here. You're going to be grabbing the red one and you're going to be finishing the stitch. So right here for the next row, we are going to be creating 1 red and 2 yellows. So when you have this way, it's a little bit different. So we are going to be chaining 1 with the red, and then we are going to be changing into the yellow one, which is going to be the next color. You see that the next row is going to be a little bit different. And then you're going to be preparing here for the half double crochet. We are going to be skipping here the very first stitch. This one is going to be a little bit different than the yellow one that I showed you guys, that we are grabbing the very first stitch. This one right here for the black and red, you're going to be skipping the first one. You're gonna go into the first red one, which is the second stitch, and you're going to be creating the first half double crochet, and then the second one already preparing to change into the red one. So change into the red one and then create the 2 right here. So now just repeat exactly the same all the way down, and then into that angled stitch, into that very last one, we are going to be creating the last one and repeating the same as we did into this one right here. So we are going to be just yarning over and pulling through the first 2 loops, leaving the last one on the hook, and then we are going to be changing here into the yellow one, which is basically the color that we are going to be changing to, as we have red right here, then it's gonna go yellow on top. And then right here, as we have 2 stitches right here, we are going to be doing 2 yellows right here on the top. So what we are going to be doing is chaining 2, turning project, and always keep the red one, or the one that we are basically weaving in here in between the stitch, always at the back, so you can grab it and you can crochet already that one with the stitch. So you're going to be here skipping this very first one and creating a half double crochet into the second one, which is basically the second stitch here on the red half double crochet, so on the second half double crochet, but already preparing to change the color, as you can see. So now you change the color to the red, and then here we just continue here with the pattern. It's very simple, don't get scared. Just for the explanations, you guys have to just keep on trying this one until you guys get very comfortable with this pattern, and then you're going to be continuing with the pattern. So this is basically the pattern, and you guys can do as many rows as you guys want. I'm just going to be doing 5, as that's basically the amount that I need, but you guys can do less or more if you guys want. And then for the last one, what I'm going to be doing is just completing right here the half double crochet into the very last stitch. So complete here the half double crochet. This is basically the pattern ready and completed. As you guys can see, it's exactly the same. So you can go ahead now and fasten off. So you're going to be chaining 1, cutting the yarn, and fasten off. So you're going to be cutting both of the yarns right here. And what I like to do with these 2 yarns is just create a triple knot just to secure here both of them together. So what we are going to be doing now is just create all of the squares we need to cover 8 centimeters that I'm going to be explaining to you guys right now. So the first step that we are going to be doing is the band that goes around our head. You'll see by the picture because you already know how the bucket hat looks completed, but it's basically the band that goes around the head. And for that band, I decided to do for my head, that's basically made to measure, made to the measurements of my head, I'm going to be doing 55 centimeters. What I did right here, as you guys can see, I just placed all of my little squares until I got to my 55 centimeters. So my one is 54 centimeters, so you want to get as close as possible to the centimeters that you need. So for my measurement, I need 10 squares, as you guys can see. And what you're going to be doing is creating one more row just above that. So in total, we will need 20 squares because I'm going to be doing only 2 rows here for my bucket hat, for the band here that goes around the head. Once you have the 20 squares completed, we are going to be now organizing them so none of them matches like here, as you can see, or like here, or like here. So we are just going to be organizing them how we want to basically sew them in place. I'm going to be doing that using my pins. That's why I have my pins right here. So I did right here 3 for the black, 3 for the red, I did 4 for my black and red, and then I did 4 here for the yellow one, 3 for here the green one, and 3 for the orange one. So once you have all of them organized, we are going to now organize them into the band that we need to sew together. I think I'm happy on how this looks like, so what I'm going to be doing now is just pin all of them together so they don't move around when I'm sewing. So once we have everything pinned in place, what we are going to be doing is grabbing our tapestry needle and we are going to be sewing all of them together. So when I have here the black yarns, as you can see the black and red in the black squares, what I'm going to be doing is just using the black one to sew all the way up, and when I have, let's say here that I have a different color, I'm going to be using basically one of these colors just to sew this one in place so we don't really see the sewing going on. So what you're going to be doing is just grabbing the very first stitch and sewing them together, and basically with a very simple sewing, just grabbing one stitch from one side and one from the other side and sewing the two together. So I'm going to be doing that all the way up, and right here I'm going to fasten off basically. So once you've done that, you can go ahead and make a knot here with one of the yarns here on the side. If you don't have any yarn to make a knot, then you can just weave in and you can fasten off into any of the stitches here from the squares here. So now you can go ahead and repeat the same here with the one at the top. So I'm going to be using this yarn right here to sew all the way down, and then right here I'm going to be making a knot with one of the yarns that I have right here, and then when I have all of them sewed like this, I'm just going to be going ahead and sewing them going that way. Also, if you have these yarns here, the sizing that you need for the sewing, then you can go ahead and use these ones. Otherwise, you can go ahead and get a new piece of yarn. And then you can go ahead and cut all of these yarns here as well, just to clean all the project. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back to show you guys the next step. So once we have all of this completed, as you can see, I've cut all of my yarns here around this little piece right here, so it's nice and clean, so we can move on into the next step. And what you're going to be doing now is moving right here into the right side. So I have the right side facing me, so the sewing here is facing the table. And what I did right here, I left one yarn here into one of the sides. I chose the black one because I have here the black and red, and that's going to be basically match the sewing right here. So what you're going to be doing now, it's have it like this, as I already mentioned, and then you're going to be folding both of them like this together. And what we are going to be doing is just sewing close here our band. So just create the same sewing, just closing the two here together. So now we have this one completed, as you can see. So what we are going to be doing now is create the round here to go right at the top. So for that one, I decided to do in red because the cardigan has a lot of reds. So to begin, we are going to be creating a magic ring. You can create in any way that you guys prefer. And then we are going to be creating right here a chain of 2. And then we are going to be going around here the magic ring with 11 half double crochets. So once you have all of them completed, we are going to be pulling here this yarn to close the magic ring. And then we are going to be connecting into any of the stitches here from the side with a slip stitch just to close here the circle. So now for the next row, we are going to be chaining 2, and then we are going to go into this very first stitch right here, the one from the chain, and we are going to be creating a half double crochet. Then we are going to go into the next one, which is right here, and we are going to be also creating right here 2 half double crochets. And then we are going to be doing exactly the same all the way around. Then when you get at the end, you're just going to be choosing a stitch from the other side, and you're going to be slip stitching the two together. So we are going to be starting with a chain of 2. We are going to be basically going into the next stitch available, and then right here we are going to be creating 2 half double crochets. And then into the next row is going to be 1. And then the next one is going to be 2 half double crochets, and then 1, and then 2, 1 2 1 2, all the way around. So I'm here towards the end. I'm just going to be creating my 2 last ones right here into the very last stitch, and then you guys can go ahead and connect here to the other side with a slip stitch. So now for the next row, instead of us doing 1 2 1 2 1 2, we are going to be doing 1 1 2 1 1 2 half double crochets. So we are going to be starting with a chain of 2, and then into the second stitch we are going to be creating 1 half double crochet, and then into the next one is going to be 2. So every time you go up a row, what we are going to be doing is increasing the amount of 1 half double crochet that we have in between the 2 half double crochets. So the first one we did 1 2 1 2 1 2. So for the next one is going to be 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and then into the next stitch is going to be 2 half double crochets together, and then 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 all the way around. So I'm going to be continuing here this one. So 1 1 and then 2 all the way around, and then connect to the other side with a slip stitch, and then now we are going to be starting a new row. So chain 2, And then now remember that we are increasing here the numbers of 1 half double crochets in between the 2 together. So right here we are going to be creating a chain of 2, and then into the next stitch is going to be 1, and then the next one is going to be 1. So 1 1 1 2 right here, and then 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 all the way around. So what we have to do now is just follow the same method, so increasing here the 1 double crochet in between the 2 all the way until we have the sizing that we need here, that it will fit going around the top here of our bucket hat. As you can see, I still have a couple of rows more to do. So what I'm going to be doing is create all the rows that I need, and then I'll let you guys know exactly how many rows I did for my one, if you guys are following the same as I'm doing right here. So I have my circle here completed, and I've done 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 rows, and that's 16 centimeters. So I'm going to be leaving with you guys a few notes right here just to explain a little bit more each row here, what I've done for the circle. If you have already completed, that's completely fine, perfect. So now let's move on into the next step. So what we're going to be doing now is grabbing both of the parts that we've already completed, so these two right here, and I'm going to be using some pins as well. So before we continue, we can fasten off here the circle. So now we are going to be placing the circle here with the right side facing you. As you can see, this is my reverse right here. This middle section right here also on the reverse. As you can see, I have the knot right here, and we are going to be placing that around here the circle that we've created. I'm going to be turning the other way like this. So we have left side, so we have the reverse also facing the reverse, and then the right side facing the right side here on the inside. And what we are going to be doing now is just pinning both parts together, because now we are just going to be sewing them together. So now you can go ahead and grab a little bit of the red yarn, and I'm going to be using a double yarn here on my tapestry needle, and then right at the end I'm just going to be creating a knot here with both ends, then just cut here the end off. So what we are going to be doing is basically just grab one stitch here from the base, which is this one, and then one stitch from the circle. No secret. So one stitch from the base and then one stitch here from the circle. Sew them together. When you get right at the end, you're gonna go through this loop just to fasten off here at the beginning, and then from here we are going to be going all the way around and sewing both parts together. So once you get at the end, you can just find the stitch to fasten off, and you can also weave in all of the yarns that you have into this part right here, so we don't have to come back to this after. So once you have this one completed, so the two parts sewed together, now we are going to be creating the brim right here of the bucket hat, and I'm going to be creating that one with the blue. You guys can choose any other color. I'm just trying to combine all the colors used in the cardigan here for my bucket hat. So now with the blue yarn, we are going to be creating a slip knot. And then right here where the brim is gonna go, we are going to be attaching into any of the stitches right here. So I'm going to be choosing here into the yellow one. So I'm going to be right here creating a slip stitch just to attach the yarn. And the first step here for the brim, we are going to be chaining one, and I'm going to be already weaving in here this yarn. and the first row will be with only single crochets, going all the way around and grabbing all of the stitches here from the base. So I got here back to the beginning, as you guys can see, so right at the end of this row. So we are going to be creating one right here, and also we are going to be creating the very last one back into the very first stitch. And then we are going to be creating a slip stitch connecting both sides together, but getting the stitch from the very first single crochet here that we've created. So now here for the second row, we are also going to be chaining one, and we are going to be creating the first single crochet right here. And we are going to be placing a stitch marker right into the very first single crochet, so right here. And for this very first row right here is going to be a little bit different than the other ones. The other ones we are going to be grabbing the entire stitch. For the first row, we are just going to be grabbing the front stitch. So you can see that we have two stitches right here, so the front and the back post. So we are going to be getting only the front one, and then right here we are going to be creating the single crochets, grabbing only the front stitch. And then we are going to be creating here 10 single crochets, because now we are going to be adding some increases as well, so we can increase the size here of the brim. And then into the stitch number 11 right here, we are going to be creating an increase. So into that stitch, you just create 2 single crochets right here. And then we are going to be continuing repeating that, so 10 single crochets. And then into the stitch number 11, we are going to be creating an increase, so 2 single crochets into that same stitch. So now I'm just going to be repeating the same all the way around. So I'm going to be creating 10 single crochets and then 1 increase, 10 single crochets and 1 increase, and then repeat the same all the way around. So I got here at the end and I have 10 single crochets from this point, which is basically my increase all the way to here. So I'm going to be creating another increase right here, so it kind of matches. And what I'm going to be doing is going into this very first stitch right here, and I'm going to be slip stitching both together. So the next row is going to be grabbing the entire stitch. You're not going to be grabbing only the front post, so you guys can just crochet as normal. So the next row is going to be with only single crochets. So we are going to chain one and then go through the very first one and single crochet. We are going to be putting the stitch marker into the first single crochet, and then from here we are going to be creating single crochets all the way around. I'm going to be removing here the stitch marker and connecting here to the other side with the slip stitch. So what we are going to be doing now is repeat the second and the last row right here that I showed you guys with only the single crochets until we have the sizing of the brim that we want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do as many rows as I need here for the sizing of my brim for my bucket hat. And when I'm back, I'll show you guys how to do the very last step here for the bucket hat. So as you guys can see, I have finished all of the rows for my brim, and I've done 8 rows in total. I've used here my row counter because it's single crochet, so it's very hard to count here on the actual work. And if you guys want to know the centimeters right here, so I've done 4 centimeters in total. That's 1.5 inches. So now I'm just gonna go all the way around with slip stitches. So you're not gonna be chaining one, so we're gonna go straight into the very first stitch. You're going to be skipping this one, going to the next one, and you're going to slip stitch. Next one, slip stitch. Next one, slip stitch. You can place a stitch marker into the very first one right here. So next one, slip stitch. So this is what I'm going to be doing all the way around here, just to give a nice finish here for the brim. So I'm getting here towards the end, so this is my very last stitch. So I'm going to be removing the stitch marker, and into that stitch we are going to be basically slip stitching the two together. So now right here we are going to be cutting the yarn, and you guys can fasten off. So now you guys can go ahead and weave in all of the yarns that you have here into the blue part. Oh my god, I think we are done. I think we did it. The time flew, guys. I didn't even see the time. It just went so quickly. It's such a quick bucket hat to create. You're not even going to believe. It's probably less than less than 1 hour that I'm recording. Oh my god, I cannot even believe. Look at this. It's amazing. I really love it. I really hope you guys enjoyed as well. This is basically the completed bucket hat, as you can see. So yeah guys, this is everything for today's video. I have my bucket hat completed, and I cannot wait to see your creations with my tutorial, because I know that you guys are amazing on following my tutorials, and you guys make a lot better than me actually, and you guys choose amazing colors as well. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give a massive thumbs up to help your girl right here, and also don't forget to subscribe here to the channel so you can see more fun tutorials like this one. So I see you guys next Friday. Bye bye.